Hi friends, my name is Jorge Muñoz. I'm a senior instructor pilot working in El Salvador, and this is the very last episode of our European holiday. If you want to see everything that we have been through during this journey, click the playlist on the top of your screen right now or the one linked in the description below. Last time, after some wins and some losses while the hunt of the Northern Lights, during the very first hours of the early morning of January 7th of 2020, we left Abisko and Kiruna, aka the real North, and came back to civilization, aka Stockholm. We did a short stop over there just to take another plane that will take us all the way to Cracow, and then to take a Flixbus that would finally take us to Auschwitz. So that was a whole day just traveling from one place to the next one. We arrived to Auschwitz at 9 p.m. and spent the rest of the night trying to find a supermarket that was open so we could get something to eat and to drink, since we were starving from the whole traveling day. Pro tip: if you want an extremely cheap place to go compared to the rest of Europe, then visit Poland. We would only be staying here for a day, since we just came to this particular city to see the concentration camp. Once more, Asensio and Eduardo didn't want to wake up early, so I had to start my day alone. I really wanted to see as much as possible from this place. So today, January 8th, I arrived to the camp at around 8:30 a.m. and to my surprise, the entrance was completely free of charge. Side note, just as a disclaimer, I know about all the atrocities that were committed in places like this one, and I can't even start to imagine all the horrors from the people inside this camp and their families. What I want is just to share this historic place with the few people that might actually watch this video, with people that may just have never heard of it, or that for some reason they had not seen the inside of a place like this one until now. I want to share this with the appropriate respect, so I have left out of the video the images and clips that, to my criteria, were too much to show, and there were even some places inside this museum where taking photos wasn't even allowed. With that being said, let's continue with the video. The camp was pretty big and there was a lot to see. Inside each one of these houses was something to learn about. They were like the usual different sections that you can find at a museum, but divided by these buildings. And just like in every museum, if you really stopped to read every single piece of information that you could find and visit every single point of interest inside it, it is practically impossible to see it all just in one day. For me, some of the most impactful things I got to see over here were the art drawn by children inside the camp, which somehow survived everything that happened, as well as the passage of time and were recreated by an artist so they can be appreciated and remembered on the walls of Auschwitz. As well as this giant book that has written on every page the name of the people killed inside the camp, at least the ones that had some kind of record. Over here, inside one of these houses, there was this extremely sad and yet beautiful story that I would never forget, because of how amazing it is, and for that same reason I want to share it here so that maybe more people can know about it, about these two sisters that somehow managed to survive the whole damn war inside the camp. The older sister took care of the younger one during all that time. since her mother was killed. The point of the story is that the younger sister was the one telling us the story through a video being displayed inside the museum. And she told us how her sister did everything she could to keep her alive. She gave her food so that she could eat somewhat properly, worked harder so that she didn't have to die from fatigue. But because of this, the older sister was closer to death every day. The day came when the war ended and the soldiers entered the camp to get everyone inside safe. The older sister was in bed, struggling just to stay alive, with her young sister beside her. Both started hearing that something was happening outside, and when it was clear that the soldiers were there to save them, the older sister told to the little one, "I told you you were gonna make it." Then she let go of her sister's hand and died in peace, knowing that her sister will be okay. That one and so many other absolutely incredible stories that not many people get to know about are the ones that you will find at the Auschwitz camp. I stayed inside the museum as long as I could, until it was time to go, so I could catch the bus that will take us back to Cracow. So at 2 p.m. I left the museum and headed back to the house that we booked to get my luggage, and right after head to the bus station, where I was hoping to reunite with my two partners. As of per usual, both of them arrived when the bus was already almost leaving, and I was more worried for them than themselves. The Flixbus left Auschwitz at 4 p.m. and we arrived to Cracow at 5 p.m. This would be the only night we would spend over here, since our only reason to visit Poland was to see the Auschwitz concentration camp. So we were going to have a nice night over here. When we arrived to the hotel, we realized that the hotel itself arranged meetings between the people staying for the night, to meet new people in an easier way. They did all the hard work, so we just had to be there in time and ready to have a great time. We just had to pay a small fee that will include the entrance to all the bars, clubs, restaurants, pubs, and also it included a couple of drinks inside each place. It was like some kind of night tour all around the center of a beautiful plaza. Eduardo and I, we both had a great time, and we met a lot of different new friends from different places in Europe. I sang on a karaoke for the first time in my life, and since I was singing in Spanish in Poland, I was like some kind of exotic token over here. Can check that one out from my bucket list. We danced and had a pretty fun, chill night with the lads. Asensio was by himself with someone he met with the Travelers app we used before to meet Matthias. Check that video if you haven't seen it yet. So I can't tell much about his night, or at least I shouldn't. The party for us two started at around 9 p.m. and we all returned to the hotel at 2 in the morning or so of the next day, of course. So today, January 9th, we would be leaving Cracow at 8:15 a.m. So yeah, we didn't had a lot of time to sleep. We would be traveling by plane to Eindhoven, and then from there we would be taking our last trusty Flixbus from the holiday, and it would be taking us to our last destination before returning back home, Amsterdam, right where we first landed in Europe. We arrived to our last hotel at around 11 a.m. and we decided to take the rest of the day off, since it had been a while since we last took one of those, and after all, the whole journey was coming to its end. So, the next day, January 10th of 2020, the very last day of our holiday, one last time I had to go alone on my journey because Eduardo and Asensio didn't felt like waking up early. I woke up at 9 a.m. by the way, and head out to wander around the city the whole day, just like I did back in Germany. Cheeky plug, by the way. Once again, it felt very relaxing for me to walk through the city with no particular destination. I visited the canals and took some great pictures over there. Well, actually, a good portion of the city is made by canals. I also visited the house of Anne Frank, went to a lot of different gift shops to buy things for everyone back in my country, and I also had lunch at this pretty plaza where the Van Gogh Museum was, which I would be visiting right after I finished my meal. I entered the museum at 2 p.m. or so. I learned a lot about his art and this artist that sadly experienced a lot of difficulties in regard with his mental issues during his whole short life. It is a very interesting story if you ask me. You should check it out by yourself if you're interested. At 6 p.m. I left the museum because we three said that we were going to meet back at the hotel for one last night together. During my way back to the hotel, yes, walking as always, I saw this amazing Lego store with huge Lego attractions. Here I spent a solid half an hour just admiring the Legos, like the grown man I am. I arrived to the hotel at around 8:30 p.m. and went back outside in a matter of minutes, this time with the lads, to enjoy our last moments before going different ways. As I was used to at this point, we almost lost the flight from Amsterdam to America. But oh well, if you have reached this point, I cannot describe how happy I am that these ridiculous stories were somewhat appealing to you, and I want to thank you for your time. If you enjoyed this video, then maybe you should watch the entire playlist about our last holiday before the pandemic. Or if you have already watched that, then go see this pretty cool video over here. It is about another holiday we had in Peru. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye bye.